Unit 8. Employment. Recording 8.1.
Well, what usually happens is that an employer will advertise a vacancy or new post, sometimes both inside and outside the company. Then, after they have received all the applications, they shortlist the candidates, choosing those who appear to meet their criteria. Next, they will assemble an interview panel and call the candidates to an interview. Some employers choose to check references at this stage to avoid delays later, while others wait until after the interview when they have chosen one of the candidates. Provided the panel are happy, the employer will make a job offer, and the successful candidate starts work. Often they attend induction sessions or are given a mentor who helps to train new staff.
Recording 8.2.
How do you identify and attract the best candidates for a particular job?
Well, the most important thing for us at the beginning is to have clear and full briefing from our clients. So we spend a great deal of time talking to a range of people in the client organisation. And then, according to the sort of job that we are seeking to fill, we will use 3 different sorts of method for identifying candidates. One, the most obvious one, is advertisement in appropriate newspapers or journals. The second is by asking for nominations from within our client organisation of appropriate candidates. And the third, and most labour-intensive for us, is our own original research. And that will be derived from our database, from talking to authoritative sources in the relevant marketplace, and then from beginning to map the business sector in which we think we are most likely to find good candidates. All 3 of those different methods of identifying candidates will cross-reference, and ideally we'd like to find candidates who are sourced from each of the 3 areas. And sometimes, when we're very fortunate, we will find an individual who comes referred from each of the 3 approaches. In respect of our own research, it's always very valuable for us to be able to speak at the beginning of a search to experts in a given sector, perhaps people from the media, commentators, sometimes academics who have wide networks of their own that are independent from any single client organisation, but span a broad cross-section of companies and organisations. And on those occasions, frequently those people will have access to, may have met, rising stars in a given sector, and can offer us an autonomous and independent view of the skills and abilities of some of those people. And furthermore, they may frequently have ideas on the interests and likely level of availability of people, so that when we make an approach to someone who we haven't spoken to before, we do it in an informed way.
Recording 8.3.
What advice would you give to someone planning an ambitious business career?
I think there isn't one single pattern for success in a business career, but there are 1 or 2 things that are apparent and common themes in the careers of a lot of successful people. One of those is an honest understanding of the individual's own strengths and weaknesses, and that allows them, I think, both to plan the sort of organisations in which they will work and in which they're likely to succeed, but also, very importantly, allows them to react rapidly but appropriately to opportunities that are unplanned that present themselves. And I do think that's something that distinguishes really successful people from those who are average in their professions. I do think one of the other characteristics that is apparent amongst very successful business leaders is a curiosity that even 30 years in the same sort of business doesn't dilute or indeed destroy. At the very top of major organisations, people like Sir John Browne, now Lord Browne at BP, demonstrates even after a lifetime with a single company, which one might say has meant he has been engaged in a very similar sort of activity for the whole of his career, he demonstrates real interest in innovation and also an open-mindedness about the structure of the industry that he leads and how it ought to consider its role and indeed the very essence of what it does in the future. That ability to remain interested in the core essence of one's business is, I think, something that distinguishes the successful. Many of the rest of us, lesser mortals, get bored very easily or lose the ability to spot the interest and to sustain motivation and momentum on the strength of it.
Recording 8.4.
Good. Everyone's here now. There's coffee if you want it. Right, can we start, please? As you all know, Roberto's been working as assistant to Carla Nunez for 6 months now. He's just finished his probationary period. How do you feel about offering him a full-time contract?
I'm not sure we should do it, really. It says in this report that he's been late to work a few times, and he can be rather...
I don't think that's too important.
Could you let him finish, please?
Oh, sorry.
Another thing about Roberto I'm not happy about. He leaves exactly on time every day. Also, he doesn't have lunch with us very often. You know, he goes off on his own.
I'm not sure that's relevant.
Maybe.
I think we should move on now if we're going to finish by 11 o'clock.
Well, what about Roberto's actual work? In my opinion, it's fine. He's contributed to several of the innovation projects.
Well, I think we should discuss this a bit more. What exactly do you mean by contributed to the innovation projects?
By providing administrative support to the management team, sometimes beyond the call of duty. For example, he stayed behind one evening and typed up all of the results from the feedback seminars. I could go on. This shows he's motivated to go further in the company.
Well, thanks very much, Maria. You've made your views very clear. OK, let's go over what we agreed. Roberto will have a further probationary period of 3 months. After that...
Recording 8.5.
Could you please tell me why you want to leave your present job, Mr. Passarelli?
Certainly. I'm glad you asked me that. It's very well paid, as you know, organizing stunts, and the people who do stunts are just great. But the job needs a lot of planning skills and is very responsible. If you make a mistake, someone can get badly injured or even killed. To be honest, I don't want that level of responsibility anymore. It's time to make way for a younger man.
Right. You've told us about your experience and qualities. What would you say is your main weakness? Something you lack and would like to put right, maybe?
My main weakness? Let me think. Well, I suppose some people would say I expect too much of people who work for me. I have high standards, and I get impatient if people don't do their job properly. But I'm trying to learn to be more patient. Nobody's perfect, are they?
Finally, could you summarize why we should offer you this job?
I think I can offer you a lot. I've got energy. Even though I'm 52, I'm in excellent shape physically. I'm a brilliant planner, and I've got lots of ideas for improving your profits. I've spent a month studying your organization and visiting your clubs. I know what to do to get you back on your feet.
Recording 8.6.
Could you please tell me why you want to leave your present job?
Yes, I feel I have the ability to perform well in a more challenging job. I'm an assistant sales manager, but it doesn't seem that I'll get the opportunity to advance any further. Basically, I'm not fulfilling my potential. The job you offer is exciting and much better paid. It matches perfectly my interest in health and sports.
You've told us about your experience and qualities. What would you say is your main weakness?
Oh, what a funny question. I don't know, really. I'm not aware of any weakness. I mean, I have lots of friends and get on well with everyone, really. Sorry, I can't think of anything at the moment.
Finally, could you summarize why we would offer you this job?
I think my training as a dietitian could benefit Slim Jims a lot. I could advise your members on their diet and help them to have a healthier lifestyle. I've got excellent interpersonal skills, and if I get the job, I'll build up a first-class management team by ensuring regular team-building activities are part of their working week. This way, I hope to encourage good communication. I am sure this strategy will make Slim Jims profitable again.
Recording 8.7.
Could you please tell us why you want to leave your present job, Mr. Chen?
Right. I suppose, basically, I need a new motivation. I've achieved everything I can in my present job. The work's no longer challenging. I'm not stimulated anymore. I'm a member of Slim Jims. I've been going to your club for several years. I really like the one in my area, but I feel it could be better managed. So, I like the idea of working for you. It's a very attractive job.
Okay, you've told us about your experience and qualities. What would you say is your main weakness?
That's a difficult question. I probably have many weaknesses. I try to be polite and helpful at all times, but maybe sometimes I should be more forceful, more assertive when I give my opinions. I try to be pleasant with everyone. I don't like having arguments with people, even if I'm right. Maybe this is my weakness. I don't know.
Finally, could you summarize why we should offer you this job?
I'd say I have a good combination of business and sports experience. That'd be useful for Slim Jims. And my knowledge of Chinese culture and the language would be a big advantage. There are a lot of Chinese people in the city who would join the clubs if I were in charge. I think people like me and respect me. I'm a very fair and honest person.
Recording 8.8.
Could you please tell me why you want to leave your present job, Mrs. Daniels?
Why? Well, quite frankly, I'm tired of all the travelling. It's such a stressful job. The money's pretty good, but I need to spend more time at home, more time with my family. I think it's important to get the balance right between work and your personal life. I'm not sure I've got that right at the moment. So I think it's time to change my job.
Okay, you've told us about your experience and qualities. What would you say is your main weakness?
Oh dear, I've got so many. I am very competitive, I know. Too competitive. If I don't get what I want, I can get a little upset. I need to accept that you can't always win in life, but it's hard for me to do this. I think that's definitely my main weakness.
Finally, could you summarize why we should offer you this job?
That's easy. I'm a people person. I'm a really good communicator. I love all sports. When I do a job, I give 110%. I'm a winner, and that's what you need now to turn Slim Jims around. I can promise you, I do a really good job.